This is Political Radar Pulse with Rhonda Sitnikow, where we explore the issues facing Northeast Wisconsin and beyond with insightful interviews and open discussions.
Hey, all you political junkies, welcome to Political Radar Pulse, the best 30 minutes of unscripted and uncensored political talk you will hear all day. I promise. Last night, the Brown County Board passed a 0.5% county sales tax, which brings the total sales tax in Brown County to 5.5%. This proposal is effective January 2018. It's going to last for 6 years. And then there was an amendment to that proposal to not raise property taxes during the duration of that proposal. It was a clean sweep, 23-3, with the exception of Andy Nicholson, Guy Zima, and Dave Castor voting no thanks. And here to discuss the details with me today are Brown County Supervisors Mark Becker and Paul Ballard. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to tell you guys, I'd never been to a county board meeting. Last night was really entertaining.
What'd you think?
I loved it, actually. I did.
We really need to sell popcorn, I think.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Have you been to a council meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Have you, Paul?
I'm a Bellevue resident. So.
Okay.
Once
I live in
Bellevue, a little,
Pulaski.
If
a
you're
little
bored,
tiny.
you should go sometime. No, but honestly, it was
Bleep
great.
show.
It's an interesting difference though, as far as people got their points across. It was intense. It was entertaining. It was informational. Yet it was really professionally done. I thought the meeting was well run. Patrick Moynihan did a great job.
That was a great
He's
job.
awesome. Yeah.
So thanks. Thanks for the show. I thought I was going to sit there and go all night, but it was great. So let's talk about the proposal. You both voted for it.
Proudly voted for.
Okay. Can you tell me why? We'll start with you, Mark.
You know what? First, I want to take you back to the campaign. One of the things that everybody's favorite city council / alderman, Guy Zima, so eloquently pointed out was that there are some people who campaign against this, or said in their campaigns, I'm not going to be for this. When we first heard about this plan, I went to Troy Streckenbach's office, and I took with me a copy of my campaign flyer. And so when we were originally talking about this plan, I put it on his desk, and I said, I want you to look at this. It's right there in my 3 pillars of my campaign. I will not support a 0.5% sales tax. I believed in this plan, but I also wanted, I gave this to him, and I said, keep this on your desk. I want you to see this every day because this is what people are up against. People are going to walk the plank with you, and I want you to look at that every single day.
And what was his response to that?
He did. He kept it on his desk, and I know he talked to other supervisors about, there's a lot people that have a lot to lose. So I supported this because, when during the campaign I said I didn't want to do the 0.5% sales tax. I didn't envision a plan that reduced debt and cut it in half. I didn't envision a plan that would cut the tax levy or cut property taxes. I didn't envision any of that. So kudos to Troy for setting it up like that. And so it was really a no-brainer to support.
By the way, you're not the first person that I've heard say that in the last 24 hours, where they were here and now they're here.
Oh, I'm
After
sure a lot of us
listening to all of the details of it and what it really meant.
And I think it was a really courageous plan that Troy put
Oh,
out.
yes.
Nobody likes taxes, but of course I don't like ignorant people. And I don't like the fact that since in the last 2 years I've had to replace 2 wheels with bent rims from hitting potholes on Brown County roads. And I always say that thriving institutions really balance innovation and maintenance, and we've done a crappy job with maintenance. If we look at the arena, if we look at our roads, and we haven't been very innovative, and this plan had both. The STEM Innovation Center, I think, is going to be a game changer for Brown County.
Yes.
We still have a large manufacturing base, but we don't have engineers to do that. So we're sending our high school students that are interested in engineering, we're sending them to Platteville, we're sending them to Stout, we're sending them to UW Marathon, and then hoping that they come back and making sure that we have, cool places to live and things to do. That's a huge gamble, and I think this does that. The park plans that are in there, the library. And the Neville Museum, I mean, I was so impressed with Beth and her team, Beth Lemke at the museum, of being really fiscal responsible with their plan. When we first saw it, I was thinking, oh, this is like $2.5, maybe $3 million. And to be able to do that for under $3 million, to be able to showcase a lot of our awesome things that's in the collection at the museum is great.
So do you feel, because obviously you both, you represent areas of Brown County and you have heard from your constituents, I'm assuming. What kind of things were you hearing from both sides? I want to hear from both sides.
One of the things that that I did was when I first heard about this plan, I contacted our village board members. I contacted Pulaski Village President, and I contacted some of the bigger members in our community that I'm close with. They all supported it.
Did they say why? I mean, they supported, but did they say why?
Well, so here's the thing. So many times. So one of the other three pillars of my campaign was that I would bring strong representation to a district that's not really is kind of an afterthought. A lot of people don't even realize Pulaski's in Brown County. So, and so
I do now. You were wearing a sweatshirt on the news.
Damn right I was. Yeah.
Pulaski pride.
Yeah, freaking A. Yeah. But so many times rural communities are asked to suck it up and take it. And it's for the greater good. What's good for Green Bay is good for Brown County. Okay, cool. That's wonderful. Well, with this plan, we have a direct impact. We have $1 million project on Main Street in Pulaski that has been kind of decimated after that fire they had, a few years ago that took down 3 big buildings. I mean, they're supportive of it. I had 2 correspondents the entire time of people that were against it, and it was a husband and wife with different emails. They were, and I got that yesterday morning. So it's like, the response was overwhelmingly positive. And I mean, you got the emails too. I mean, it was.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the game changers for me was during Stash Kaczynski and I had some listening sessions outside of what Troy was doing at the East Branch Library. And we had a couple who were both retired. And they had been, they lived in Brown County their entire life, and they really talked about their lives and what they saw, kind of through the 50s and 60s and into the 70s, and then kind of the downturn in the 80s. And they said, we need young people here to pay for services for us as we grow older. Mm-hmm. And if we don't do things now to do that, we won't have the services when we're in our 80s and 90s. And they were very hard on that. And they said, too, we don't want our property tax to go up. We're okay with the 0.5% sales tax. It's, instead of $1.05, it's $1.06 for their coffee at McDonald's. They were very supportive of it.
And so really that is the crucial piece of this. This proposal keeps people choosing to be in Brown County, choosing to invest in Brown County. This also, I believe, it affects people, but it also affects future developers.
Oh, God.
That want to come and invest their time, energy, and money into Brown County. And so really this is a sustainability type of proposal.
There were some big business people there last night.
That's right.
They're really, seriously,
And
they're watching what's going on.
And we just need, some great infrastructure to percolate things. When I moved into the county, I'm not a lifelong Wisconsinite, but when I moved in, I was almost shocked and disappointed with my varying housing options. Mm-hmm. I came from a place where, one of the condos I was looking at had, 4 stories of condos up, and then on the ground floor had a beauty parlor, hairstylist, whatever you want to call it. I don't use them, so I don't know what
Nice.
They had a butcher shop, a distillery, and a Jimmy John's. So 3 of the 4 things I like, but that's that mixed use. It had walkability.
Kind of like the Metro.
It was around the corner from the hospital, just in case I had too much, in the distillery or the Jimmy John's or the butcher shop. I could walk right there. But those are the things that need to happen in downtown Green Bay to make it thrive. And, it does trickle out to the outlying areas that Mark and I represent. but we need a thriving downtown. And I hope that this is just a start with the arena, but also making sure that we're servicing, those with the libraries and the parks and the roads, those people that don't live in Green Bay proper.
Okay, can I just break in and just give a couple details about the proposal? So it was $225 million. $60 million went to roads and infrastructure, $20 million to the jail/mental health, library $20 million, Expo Hall $15 million, and I apologize, and I'm just going to be honest, the morgue and public safety, I'm not familiar with that.
So here's what happened. There
What
was
is that?
So we don't have a medical examiner right now. If someone dies and they require an autopsy, they go to like Dane County. We have to send 2 officers down there because they
Wait, what? We're the third largest city in Wisconsin. Green Bay is surrounding areas on top of that, and that's what happens?
That's
Yes.
correct. So what happened?
Wow.
So and that was when Al Klimek retired. They're just like, all right, cool. Well, that was fun, and they did nothing.
Wow.
But the issue is, it's expensive to do this because you can't really have a morgue and a coroner, and you need a forensic pathologist that can truly identify the cause of death, and really get your hands in there and figure out what happened.
This proposal takes care of that?
Yeah, and it creates a regional medical examining office. So not only, it's a morbid thing, but it could be a revenue generating where counties, instead of us contracting with Dane, now other counties can contract with us.
That's interesting. Okay, so moving on. The fairground/park, $6 million. STEM Innovation Center, $5 million. The museum, $1 million. And maintenance for Rush and the Expo Center, $10 million. So let's talk I'd like to get into a few things regarding the meeting. Some of the comments that were made of people that did not support the proposal. And just so it's known, I did keep track of citizens that came forward that spoke for or against the proposal, and only 12 people, only 12 people got up and spoke, which I thought was interesting. 2 were against the proposal, and obviously 10 were in support of it.
I missed one of those 2.
Oh, yeah, did you?
Yeah.
You left the room?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it was interesting.
Oh.
So, kick the can down the road. Okay, that was a theme. So that was in reference to a referendum possibility, which was voted down, as we saw. That's what happened. And each one of you, tell me what you think about that. I mean, you didn't support that at all, but why not a referendum?
We had a referendum in April. We went. Well,
I didn't.
You didn't. Well, no. We went to every single one of the doors in our district and knocked on doors and told people we can make difficult decisions on their behalf and we can make the best decision possible. And so we did that. A referendum. It would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and for what? It doesn't tell us what to do. It's not something that would have any weight whatsoever. We're there to make that decision. That's our job.
And do you believe, because there was comments and there were not a ton, but there were people saying this was rushed. This was not enough time to vet any of these projects, which, by the way, it sounds like you're still going to vet the projects through committee, right?
Yes.
But, what's your response to that, Paul? It was rushed through and not enough time was spent on it.
Even though that I've only been on the board almost a year now, none of these projects were a shock to me at every one of the subcommittee meetings, and I realize that those aren't greatly attended, nor people don't watch it on New Eye all that often. But the road projects were not a shock. If you've walked downtown and said Brown County, Arena, people understand what that is. If you've walked in the East Branch Library, the downtown library, the Pulaski, does it have a library yet? I haven't been there.
It does. By the way, that population of 3,600 in Pulaski. 4,500 people use that library every month.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And so a lot of these projects, the parks projects, the one at the fairgrounds was, I think, first introduced in 1988. So you were, 3 years old?
2.
2 years old.
I graduated from high school. Move on, carry on.
One of those kiddos that
Carry
guys
on.
didn't
Oh, that's
we
right.
were, yeah. But I mean, these things are all there, and that's the piece of we are still going to vet these projects. I'm not a fan of every project on there, but to get everyone on board, I think it was good, and it's a good way to pay for it because we don't want to, continue to add dollars and tens of dollars on people's property taxes. I was when I moved here, one of the things I was shocked about is how high our property taxes were here. My property tax almost doubled from what I had previously, but I'll be the first to say that I have a whole lot more services. I don't pay for garbage service. I don't pay for someone to come and pick up my tree limbs and the street cleaning, those things that happen. Those are some great services.
Because that's really what taxes are. They're an investment in your quality of life. And nobody wants to live in a community that there isn't a quality of life there.
Right.
No one's going to do that. No one's going to stay. No one's going to choose to move there.
I want to make something clear. Wisconsin, like you're saying, Wisconsin is one of the top 5 states in the country for how high our property taxes are. We're in the bottom 5 in how low our sales tax is. So, I mean, that's something that we have to understand too. And I want to take exception to, you were talking about this is rushed and all this stuff. You got fringe groups out there talking about how, the
Brown County Taxpayers Association.
Fringe groups out there want to be watchdogs that will come up with these brilliant parking lot ideas that don't make sense. I'm looking right at the camera. Where have you guys been the entire year that we've been on the board? This wasn't a shock to Supervisor Ballard. Wasn't a shock to me. It wasn't a shock to anyone in that room except those people. And now you come before us and call us arrogant and reckless and throwing all these accusations around when you have not been present the entire time that we have debated these things. I wanted to go off on him last night because I was so pissed off because, for a group that says we are fiscally responsible. Dude, don't preach to me about fiscal responsibility. I've led the Brown County Republican Party. I know a little bit about, the talking points of that. And when you have a plan that does all this stuff, everybody knows this has to get done. When you have a plan that does this while reducing debt, largest debt increase in the history of Brown County, when you're reducing property taxes, what the hell is wrong with that? And to come before us and throw all these accusations, I got a call from Tom Slottick. That was it. Like 2 days before the vote.
And Tom Slottick is a member of the Brown County Taxpayers Association.
Yeah.
Also a Green Bay City Council member, which, by the way, don't let me forget, we need to address the possibility that the council could put the kibosh on this.
Yeah.
Okay. Go back. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract
no,
you, but
it's just so frustrating. And I mean, I spent time on the phone with he had talked me off so many clips. I was really upset. I was really mad because they talked about this is reckless. We haven't vetted these projects enough, dude. You haven't been here for the conversation.
So that's not true. So what you're saying is that's not true.
In no way, shape, or form is it true.
And these things are all capital projects. So they're builds. They're not operational expenses. It's not like we're funding a position that after the sales tax sunsets, we're going to have to continue to fund. These are capital things. We're building stuff, which creates jobs. It lowers property taxes. I mean, and it's paid for by people that don't live in town and come and visit us.
What about the criticism, though, of someone who spoke last night against the proposal that only wealthy people will utilize these once these projects are built? Paul? You think that's crap?
Yes. I'm not an ardent library user. I mean, I use my iPad and I download books from Amazon and Barnes & Noble. But we sat there from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. on a Friday at the East Branch Library, and I was almost jaw-dropping the number of people and the different type of people that were using the library services. There were some folks that are much older than I am that came in to read the newspaper. There was one of the librarians was helping someone in their 70s figure out how to turn off the alerts on Facebook. There was people in there looking for jobs. There was
it's a resource for people that are
paper. I mean,
it is a resource for low-income people.
God.
I mean, that is a fact. So yes. I'm not sure how that got confused by the speaker.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that. I mean, parks are not used by, they're used by wealthy people, but they're meant for everyone. It's a community resource.
drives on roads.
Yeah.
And any other, I mean, there have been other criticisms, but this seems like the biggest one is that it just, wait a month. What would be different in a month? What do you think?
Well, even
be different in 1 month if
even in the
you'd
short
have held
time
it.
that this was announced, we had, we say, number of calls pro and against. I got a lot of emails and calls with people that wanted to jump on this. And not to say that these community organizations aren't phenomenal and they have great things that they want to do, but they said, well, we only need $600,000. Can we be a part of this too? Everyone wanted a piece of this. And I kept on saying, this is for the county and these are for capital projects. What you're looking for is ongoing things that are not county related. And so I think if we wait a month, we would have had, maybe the city of Green Bay would want us to pay for the shipyard. Maybe some of the municipalities would want to pay for some of their other projects. We wanted to make sure that this was a Brown County only capital gains.
Well, I think so many times the Brown County Board is really, really, really good at one thing. Hold and wait for next month.
Oh, I think that's a local government mantra in general.
Well, but I think
and do a study. We need to do a study.
We need to do a study
and have a subcommittee.
Right. Well, and so if one old, as Joe Moore said, dinosaur would get his way, we would have pushed this off a month, which then we need another month, because boy, we really looked at that jail and mental health facility. I don't know if we, and then the next month. Do we really need $10 million for a morgue? Do we? Maybe it's 12. So
do you believe? Are you saying though? I mean, because I need to hear from because Tom DeWayne, who's a supervisor as well as the city council president, he made a comment that I need to hear from more people or I need more information. What about that argument?
This was so public. I mean, listening set. We had one, and there were 6 people, but it was very public. There was a lot of time for people to contact us. I contacted people. And let me tell you something. If you're an elected representative and there's something like this coming before you and you're not talking to people, you're not doing a good job. So if you didn't make calls to your constituents? Inside joke, sorry. If you're not making calls and you're not reaching out to your the people that you represent, what the hell are you doing here?
Do you think it's fair to say that there are people that just don't care?
Well, and I think too is one of the things, people have asked me since I've been on a year, like, how is it? And I said, I'm a fervent consumer of information. I read and listen and watch stuff all the time just because I want to become more educated. As soon as I get my packet, I'm at Starbucks on a Saturday morning going through it, tabbing, highlighting, reading the meeting notes. I don't know how you can have a full-time job and sit on a city council or a village council and the county board and take in all that information. I would probably say, yeah, you may be ignorant to that fact because you haven't had time and the ability to do that.
One of those people showed up last night without the agenda in hand.
Like 20 minutes into the meeting?
Yes.
Andy Nicholson?
I've known it, but he didn't have...
Well, no, it was Andy Nicholson. I'll say it.
There's when we show up, we have a stack like an inch thick of all the yellow committee meetings minutes. We have, the agenda was that thick. Yeah. Showed up empty-handed.
As you can see here, my stuff is all tabbed as sales tax. Everything that we talk about. And if I don't know something about an issue, I'll call either one of my fellow supervisors, I'll call someone in the community who has an expertise in that area so I can become a better representative to my constituents.
Well, that's called doing your job, right?
Well, so much. And about so many things.
And when people say, do you like what you're doing? I'm like, yeah, because I get to talk to people that I normally don't get to talk to. Yeah. I'm lucky enough that I work at a college and I get to have experts. And so like when this sales tax first went out, I got to go to my friend Mark Schaefer, who does the state of the county, the state of the economy in the county. And I said, Mark, like what's your feeling on this? And and he got a little too deep in the aggressive tax versus other taxes. But I learned this stuff, and I think that's what I need. When people say referendum or no referendum, I've done my research. I looked at my own. I got out my bank statements for the last year, and I said, okay, what is this going to mean for that 0.5% in my consumer spending? What's it going to mean to my property tax? Then I went to the Brown County Life study that St. Norbert College did, the Strategic Research Institute. Got to put the plugs in.
Might as well.
They're letting me be here today. So, and I looked at that. I looked at the median income, and I looked at the percentage that I kind of spent, did that correlation of what then to that average, and said, yeah. If you're a homeowner in Brown County, your taxes are going to go down more than what you're going to pay in sales tax. Because people are like, well, groceries. I'm like, no, groceries they're not taxed. And people don't. I'm like, that's how much you don't know about what's on your grocery bill is you don't know that you don't pay that 5% on your groceries.
Right. And you spend $100 in groceries. What did that cost you?
$100
in sales tax.
Yeah.
0.5%. 50 cents.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, so I have two quick questions because we need to wrap it up. And they're two really important questions.
We've only gone.
It goes so fast. It's almost done. Number one, are you anticipating any blowback from people like groups like the Brown County Taxpayers Association? And if you run again, like what do you think is going to happen there?
I'm sure because of the stance that I took. Some people and guys have made it clear. Oh, just wait till we get to your election. Scoreboard, man. If I think if we were concerned about that, then we would have voted.
That's not how you're supposed to
But he's
govern.
got,
I thought that was really
but he has
interesting
21
point.
elections where he's promised to do something and nothing got done.
That's right. Y'all didn't do it.
And his kiddos don't know about how that works.
Yeah. No, and I like how so many people took a vote. Not based on what they want to do tomorrow politically, but we took that vote based on what was right for Brown County, what was right for the citizens that we represent. That is why I went home on cloud nine, because I saw it was truly legislation and government in action for good.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm serious.
No, it was. I agree with you. I really do. And I think the important part of that is you did your due diligence. You researched the information. I think it's interesting, and I would bet, I could be wrong, but the people that didn't vote for this or were, pushing, they're going to face some criticism as well. But they just happen to be the same people that are on the Green Bay City Council. Now, can you please quickly go over that, because there was some information I saw last night that said that certain, like the village of Ashwaubenon and there's in City of Green Bay, there are in De Pere, there are people that actually could take this and wipe it off, or is this?
Yeah, De Pere's already voted yes. Alloway has voted yes.
Ashwaubenon spoke in favor of it.
Right, but I mean, so Green Bay has yet to make any sort of statement.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Schmidt, you're a dear friend. This is good. I no, truly, I don't think he will. I think,
Okay, but is it really up to him? I mean, the council would have to vote. And if you look at the board and the people that sit simultaneously, which I don't agree with, on the county board and the city council, these are people that don't really support the proposal. 2 voted against it at the very end, and 1, Tom DeWayne, went with it, but they don't support it.
Well,
Vanderleest did. Vanderleest voted for it.
No, but I'm saying the 2 people that actually didn't. So Zima and Nicholson are on the city council.
I mean,
so
yeah, I know.
But a week ago, I
think
was
that'll
at
happen?
the chamber event, and Mayor Schmidt spoke, and he said, every place that's thriving has a thriving downtown. And if you don't want a thriving downtown, then vote this down, because what's going to, UWGB wants to increase their enrollment from about 6,500 to 10,000. They want to build a downtown campus. Without this, that doesn't happen. Without the STEM center, this doesn't happen. So if you want those things, that's what needs to happen.
The city of Green Bay may not even make a statement or a vote on this. Do they have to? How does proceed?
Yes, they
in
have
the
to give their
procedure they
percentage
have
of rim
to.
tax.
They have to. Okay.
It's like the same. They have to vote on the same language. Every single community does.
Okay.
Well, they're not voting on our language. What they're doing is
agreeing.
the whole piece of this was for the arena is to do $15 million of gap funding, so get us between now and 2029.
Yeah.
In 2029, we need the room tax, the head and bed tax, to take over for that. And so 7 municipalities have a piece of that. So Alloway said yes, Schwabman said yes, De Pere said yes. That big piece is Green Bay.
Okay. So it looks like it's going forward.
I'm confident with that.
Yeah, I would imagine. I don't think the votes are there in the council to put the kibosh on that. So we have to wrap it up. Thanks so much for coming on. If anyone wants to get in touch with either one of you, Mark, how would they do that?
Facebook, phone, Twitter, whatever.
What's your Facebook? What's your Twitter?
Facebook. What is it? I think it's Becker for District 26.
Supervisor,
whatever. Just Mark Becker and you'll find me.
Okay.
Twitter, Mark Becker 26.
And then my Facebook, I have a Facebook fan page for the county. It's Paul J. Ballard, District Supervisor 15. So go ahead and like the page. I usually comment on how I vote.
I'm a fan.
Or on Twitter is Ballard PJ, and it's not all political stuff. So you'll probably get some higher ed stuff and some when I complain about the Detroit Tigers, but they won last night. So
that's it. Anything else you want to say?
I just think to answer your question about when we go to vote. One of my favorite Mark Twain quotes is always do what's right. It justifies some and amazes the rest. And I think that, this vote was very justified. And I think people will support it because they'll see what's going to happen in the future. Not even the short term, but the long term of the great things that are going to happen in the county.
And the amount of people that did not show up to speak against it was pretty
and the 20%
clear.
That'll vote in the referendum if we had it.
Okay. Exactly. Hello.
When I came home last night, like I told you, Lisa's usually sleeping, and she was up fervently fighting with someone on Fox 11's page. But when I came home to a big branch in the yard, I said to her, if I never do this again, I can be so confident and so proud of the vote that I took last night and we took last night, because this was a really, really, as Joe Biden said, big deal. For so many different reasons. So I'm really proud of what we did.
All right. Sounds good. I agree. That wraps up Political Radar Pulse episode 10. For show notes, go to politicalradarpulse.com/10. If you are watching this episode on YouTube, like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell to get notifications. And if you would like to support this show, please, you can like the show on Facebook and Twitter, and you can buy shirts and other merchandise at politicalradar.com/shop. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe.
And the bell, I got to remember to hit the bell.
Hit the bell. Thanks.
Thank you for watching Political Radar Pulse. To ensure that you'll never miss an episode, subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. To check out more episodes of Political Radar Pulse, visit politicalradarpulse.com or connect with us on Facebook or Twitter.